Hey everyone, welcome back to my homestead kitchen. Tonight we are going to be doing a little bit of late night canning as I have a sink full of tomatoes that need canned now. They're starting to mold and rot and I don't want to lose any more tomatoes, so they need done tonight because I work tomorrow and I'm not going to have time to do them tomorrow, so they need done tonight. So a little late night canning. But today we're doing a simple recipe. We are just doing raw packed diced tomatoes. So this is pretty easy and it shouldn't take me too long tonight. So I'm going to walk you through it with me and hopefully you find this video helpful. So I've already had my tomatoes soaking in some baking soda and water, and this just helps clean them up and get rid of any pests if there are any. But the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to core our tomatoes. I'm just going to be using a paring knife and we're just going to cut out the top part of the tomato that connects to the plant. And then we're going to blanch them in a pot of boiling water. I already have a pot going on the stove, so it'll be ready for me in a minute. And then once we skin the tomatoes, we are going to save the skin because I have something in mind for those later. But once we have them skinned, I'm going to do my best to try and remove all of the seeds because I don't want a ton of seeds left in my diced tomatoes. And then we're just going to dice them up and put them in their jars. So hopefully this goes pretty quickly tonight and I'm not up all night canning tomatoes, but let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty, so I got all of my tomatoes cored and they're ready for blanching, so I'm going to go ahead and take them over to my pot of hot water and I'm going to dunk each tomato in the hot water for about 30 seconds to a minute, basically until the skin starts to split and I'm able to just peel the skins off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Stove blanching, I'm going to go ahead and skin these ones and get them ready to go. Again, I'm saving the skins off of these because I have something in mind for them. Sometimes you'll come across one where they don't like to peel very well and you just have to stick them back in the pot for another minute. Alright, so I have all of my skins separate and I'm going to put these in a Ziploc bag in the fridge to use with the other ones that I saved from my spaghetti sauce and tomato juice. Next, I'm going to start cutting these ones up and pulling the seeds out of them. Before I start cutting up my tomatoes and getting rid of the seeds, I'm going to go ahead and prep my quart jars. I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of bottled lemon juice per quart. And then 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm using Redmond's Real Salt. Now that my jars are prepped, I can just cut my tomatoes up, de-seed them, and just stuff them in the jars. I've got all of my jars nice and full. You want to kind of pack the tomatoes in there pretty tightly because they tend to shrink when they get pressure canned. So right now I'm just getting rid of any air bubbles in the tomatoes. Using this little stick thing. You can use a butter knife, you can use a chopstick. Now that that's done, I'm going to take a little bit of white vinegar and clean the rims of my jars. This way the lids get a nice good seal. Put our lids on. And our rings. Again, just fingertip tight, so as soon as you meet some resistance, give it one good cinch with your fingers, and you're done. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and load these into my pressure canner. Alright, I need to adjust the water level a little bit. You want about 2 inches in the bottom of the pot. That looks good. Put our lid on and lock it in place. I'm going to crank up the heat. And then once this valve is steaming consistently, we're going to set the timer for 10 minutes. And then once that 10 minutes is up, we're going to put the weight on the valve and then let this get up to 10 pounds of pressure. Alright, so it's kind of hard to tell, but this little valve here is sending up steam consistently. So I'm going to go ahead and set a timer for 10 minutes. And then we're going to put this little weight over top of that valve. Alright, 10 minutes is up. Putting the weight on, and then we're going to wait until... So we're going to let this pressure gauge get up to 10 pounds of pressure, and once it gets to 10 pounds of pressure, we're going to set a timer for 25 minutes. Once the 25 minutes is up, I'm going to go ahead and turn the stove off and let the pot come all the way down to 0 pressure all on its own. And honestly, I'm probably just going to leave it in the pot for the night because I'm tired and ready for bed. Alright, our timer is up. I'm gonna turn the heat off, and we're gonna let that pressure gauge come all the way down to 0 on its own. We're gonna leave that weight on the valve there, and I'm gonna let this sit on the stove for the rest of the night. I'm not even gonna worry about cracking the lid or pulling them out of here. I'm gonna do it in the morning. It is 11 o'clock at night and I am ready for bed. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you guys have any questions about canning diced tomatoes, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And remember to grow where you're planted.